Hello everyone and welcome back to Streamline Racing Series. This is the 5th round of the season here at the Belgian Grand Prix in Tier 1 at the iconic circuit du Spa-Francorchamps. And as you can see here, a less stacked grid than previous weeks, but nonetheless, I think we're going to get some great action nonetheless. It's been a fascinating championship so far. 3 different winners in the first 4 races. It's tight at the top, but slowly but surely, Jab is running away with this. Now on 67 points, securing his 2nd win of the season in China. F1 driver, 2nd place in the championship on 46 points, followed up closely by Pluto on 45 points. It was a chaotic race in Tier 2 yesterday. We saw many wheel-to-wheel collisions. We saw many mistakes. Drivers just losing it by themselves, sticking it in the wall at Stavelot turn 15. And obviously that could be a very similar story today. At the moment it's Polo Gods leading the way in this qualifying session. 7/10 over LSJ Rundle, closely followed up by Bennett, just 0.03 of a second separating those two. Pluto making his way into the pits, a debut today for QBR20 Savoia. And the Haas Axe F1, we'll see what he's up to on track. He invalidated pretty early on. Ferrari's stacking there in the pit box. Luke Goggy got a lap time in of a 1 minute 43.611. Communist MV today reserving in the Mercedes. Watching Communist Envy at the moment. There's only a few drivers out there on the circuit. I think we have QBR20 Savoia around. That's at turn 14 at Stavelot, the southern part of this circuit. More drivers making their way onto the track for a second run here. But I think it's fair if we do talk championship. Obviously, the top 3 is already mentioned. Jab, F1 driver, and Pluto. 4th place is Polo God, still searching a win. He lost it very harshly last week as well at the dying moments. It always happens to him. And it seems to be a China thing as well. Another spin there for the Haas driver. He just really can't find his rhythm so far. Meanwhile, in the championship, Alfa Romeo lead the way on 85 points. McLaren didn't take any points in France, and that is what has cost them really the lead of this Constructors' Championship. They took a major 36-point haul out of China, which means they go into this round on 77 points, and then it's Williams on 71. So it's an Alfa Romeo, McLaren and Williams Constructors battle, and they've each got a representative in the championship in the top 3 as well. Polo God being a nice rear gunner in 4th place as well in the championship. Again, another spin, and that's not really a surprise to us anymore. Communist MV is out on track. He's on a push lap here, making his way through now turn 16. Now to the bus stop chicane, turn 18 and 19, heavy braking zone, difficult one to get right. But he seems to have managed that quite nicely. Up to the line here, Communist MV goes second, and the Tier 2 driver puts himself on the front row here. Provisionally, of course. Bennett also on a flying lap here. We have Sam Steed as well has made a good start to his qualifying session, also pushing Black Draw, who took obviously that 2nd place in France. Wasn't able to follow it up with a points finish last time out, but Black Draw has still some lasting confidence from that day 2 weeks ago. Great to see Brute Gorgon back as well. After, obviously, we know he's endured some personal issues across the off-season, then going into this season as well. But it's so great to have him back. And I hope he has a great race today. He's representing Aston Martin today as a reserve driver, F1 driver, who's yet to get a lap on the board. And that's a big, big slide coming through. Turns 12 and 13. F1 driver right on the edge there. Just about keeping it going through Sector 2 now. Still managed to keep it relatively clean now. So in all fairness to him, this lap time still may be a good one. Into Blanchimont now. Turn 16. Turn 17 as well. That leads on to. Just slightly missing the apex for the right-hander. Now out of the final corner, F1 driver comes up to the line now, and he goes third fastest. And we saw in that lap that there's maybe close to half a second in just that slide. But Jab popping up at the top of the timesheets. What's new? 1 minute 42.248 is the time to beat Black Raw up to third as well with a 42.444. See, we didn't have a Belgian Grand Prix. Well, we did this year, but it was cut short because of rain. Waiting 4 hours for absolutely nothing. QPR20 Savoia now on an outlap. Pluto is pushing. Here he comes then into the bus stop chicane. We'll see how he navigates this. A lot better on the inside apex. He's on the throttle. He's done that ever so well. Pluto up to the line and he goes fourth. It's looking like a really tight and entertaining qualifying here in Spa. And Pluto now on the second row, just pipping teammate Bennett to that spot. I'm sure they'll both be delighted with that so far. Is F1 driver pushing again? He's on an invalid lap here. Perhaps still just gaining some valuable knowledge here. Seems like he has found a lot of time. However, he did that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cut somewhere. Axe getting all out of shape at turn 18 in the bus stop chicane. Up to the line comes Axe. And that's a woeful lap by his standards. On the soft tyres as well. He's 1.1 seconds off provisional pole sitter Jab. Axe currently sitting P5 in the championship. Remember, he recovered so much with that P1 in France. A DNF at China, though, means he still sits 5th in the championship. Really needs to get more consistent results, does Axe, if he wants any chance of fighting for this championship, because really, it is still the Jab show, as we see here again today. Kyogre, a flying lap here. He's now in the final sector. Into Blanchimont. Completely flat, foot to the floor there. Nice sunny qualifying. Through the final corner then. Here comes Kyogre. What's it going to be for the Ferrari driver? And it's a really solid P6 for Kyogre. Just 9 points on the board for the Ferrari driver. A definite opportunity with the reduced grid to perhaps try and build on that number today. Brute Gorgon currently sitting in P8, makes his way back to the pit lane, as do many other drivers. So we'll see the final outings very shortly. Yellow flag in Sector 2, and that's a Haas in that section of the track, is it? It's either Josh, it's Savoia there. QBR represented Haas. And into the pits comes Josh as well. Communist now on an outlap. Kostag as well. Kostag has set a lap time of a 1 minute 48.467 on medium tyres. So his approach to this qualifying session has been a little bit different. Communist making his way now down towards P1. Still on an outlap, but he's showing a lot of commitment still. He's got a lot of space out here on the racetrack. He can do whatever he wants with. The next car behind, I believe, is Bennett, and he is all the way down the Kemmel Straight on towards turn 5, 6 and 7 there. Very, very quick change of direction required there after you go flat out from turn 1 all the way up to turn 5. Let's watch Communist MV there. He obviously did put it up into P2 earlier on this session. He's since fallen back down to 9th, but a tour of Spa-Francorchamps with 2 minutes to go then in this session. A nice wide run there. Try to maximise the exit speed. And here he goes then. Communist MV in the Mercedes hits the timing beam. And the clock has started then for his final qualifying lap into turn 1. Nicely done at La Source. Decent exit as well. Pulling off there into the endurance pit lane there. Or support paddock was Savoia up to the top of Radion then. Communist MV still foot to the floor. It's not going to give up any time here. Sector 1 split coming right up. Cool Kyogre out of the session now as well. He's found 300ths of a second through the first sector, using a lot of the inside curb at 6, and now through turn 7. Communist MV makes his way down the hill. Doesn't use too much of that outside curb. Nice tight line, and that's... No, he's not around there. I thought he may have just lost it, but he's kept going, and this lap time will no longer count as he exceeded the white line there. Let's go and look at Kostag, who's now slowed down himself, so he's on an invalid run. We'll go and look at Bennett then, who's 4/10 up. Oh, no, he's not even hit Sector 1 yet. My bad. Sam Steed off as well. He's retired. And Bennett just finding the 200ths of a second in Sector 1. And he spun it as well. Oh, every driver we seem to watch in this league, especially in Tier 1, just seems to find a way to go and ruin their lap. F1 driver now on a flying lap. This is it then. Polo God as well, making his way up to the top of Radion, but just ahead of him is Jab. How much time has he found in Sector 1? Just 100th of a second, so fine margins here in Spa. Using a lot more of the outside curb there is Jab. Now making his way through turn number 8. Bruxelles, as many drivers call it. Then No Name, as many drivers call it. You can never seem to be certain with corner names around this track. But look at that through Poo on just a small lift in 7th gear. Keeping it pinned all the way down now towards turn 12 and 13. Little bit wide of that inside apex there. There are different approaches you can take through there. For example, Polo God, who gets it all wrong, and this lap time will not count. Jab will probably aware that that is, in fact, Polo God behind him. Now out of this qualifying session, so it's Jab here. Is he going to be next to the line? In fact, it's going to be Bennett, who's now pulling into the pit lane as the checker flag is out here. Jab coming up to the line, then he found 2/10 as of Sector 2. Little bit of a shaky exit, and does he go into the 1 minute 41s? Nearly. 1 minute 42.0. Next across the line, I believe, is F1 driver, who's found so much time in this lap. The F1 driver, he misses out by 1.5 of a second. So close there for second place man in the championship. He lines up just behind the championship leader. Pluto's found time as well, but he is invalid, so this will not count. Black Draw, I think, is flying as well. So could he maybe pit Polo God here and make him a little bit more miserable? Heading into this race, into the final corner comes Black Draw, DRS open. Nice short shift there to get the traction for Black Draw. I think he just stays P4. Close margins, like I said. And that is qualifying done and dusted. What an ending that was. Jab finding the valuable time that's kept him on pole position. F1 driver and Polo God making Alfa Romeo 2-3. Black Draw again impressing with a solid qualifying performance in P4. Then comes LSJ, Rundle, Pluto, Bennett, Cool Kyogre, Brute Gorgon, Communist MV rounding out the top 10. QBR20 Josh will have the first of the 3 choices of tyres. Axe as well, who starts 12th. Sam Steed, Blue Goggy, Kostag, and QBR20 Savoia. Absolutely, says Dominant Square, says Black Raw most improved driver from last game to this. Absolutely. I don't think anyone really expected the consistently high levels he's putting himself in. So fair play to him. But yeah. We're about to get ready for this Belgian Grand Prix. Almost forgot then what country we were in. Polo God was suggesting that he was 2/10 up, but again the question is, would it have been enough? Certainly it's cost him P2 here, but we know just how powerful the slipstream is from La Source to Les Combes. We've had the famous moments of here comes Sebastian Vettel making overtakes down the Camel Straight, attempting one in 2017, getting the job done in that action-packed start of 2018, 2019 as well, getting past Lewis Hamilton at the start, because we just know how ridiculous that Ferrari engine was. I'll leave you with the tyres in just a moment. I've done a silly again, and my batteries are low, so do bear with me 1 second, but I will leave you with the tyres, and unsurprisingly, many going for the mediums outside the top 10, with Sam Steed being the opposite. Should now be all good to go. There's no dramas so far in the opening sector of the formation lap. It's the longest formation lap of the season, so strap in. But it does give us, I say us, just myself, a chance to invite some predictions from the live chat. They're never usually right, but still entertaining anyway to see what people have to come up with. Jab, F1 driver, Polo God, your qualifying top 3. Will that change? I certainly think it will. We know Polo God's tendency to perhaps just drop it under pressure a little bit. F1 driver, he is a real fighter on the racetrack. And Jab always gives 110%. FH says, Jab, easy dub. Dominant Square says Kostag will not spin this time. Oh. Oh. I go and switch to Kostag. I've never let out a bigger and more horrendous laugh than what I just did. Kostag. Oh. That's really funny. I really need to control my laugh sometimes, but that was just perfect timing. I go and switch to Kostag and he's in the wall on the formation lap. Here we go then. We're reforming the grid now. 22 laps of the Belgian Grand Prix. The last driver around will be Kostag. And he will rejoin this 15th place grid slot. But we're about to get underway here at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. A French accent, perfect as always. Here we go then, 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers, and it's lights out and away we go. Second time lucky there as Jab gets away well, but watch out for the run from turn 1 all the way up to turn 5 as F1 driver gets a good start as well. What a start from Pluto, making up a couple of positions there. An absolute shocker for Polo God, who's already down in P6. Bennett and Brute Gorgon side by side, but Oh, who could get ahead there? Bennett does. There's a little bit of contact with the Aston Martin behind. But here comes F1 driver there in the slipstream using the overtake. Is he going to take the lead? He's pulling out of the slipstream. And that just slows his Alfa Romeo down ever so slightly. As in they come down to Lay Calm. Jab stays ahead. That's dream. That's a dream for Jab, as he thought maybe he was going to lose the lead there at the start. Brew Gorgon and Communist MV going side by side there. Pulling to the right there is QBR20 Josh. Side by side between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. Of course, we've just had the release of the film No Time to Die, the new Bond film. So maybe it would be fitting that Alfa and the sole Aston Martin can get the result today. A spin for Sam Steed at the back, but look at Brew Gorgon as well. No! And I was just saying how maybe it would be a fitting time for an Aston Martin to get a result in this tier. Rock bottom of the championship, not really had the ideal attendance as well in terms of drivers. Now Graham moving down to tier 2 as well due to work commitments. God damn it. Let's go to Black Draw here because he's really close to the back of Pluto and he's actually going to go for it, is he? No, he's not. Yellow flag in Sector 3. And I think Savoya, who joined the league about 10 minutes ago, yeah, is being everywhere but the racetrack. So, yeah, very strange there what's happening to him. Lap 1 completed. We're on to lap 2. Still no DRS enabled. I see. How do you keep spinning? Crazy. But yeah, back to the race lead. Then Jab now has a 6/10 lead, but F1 driver will just maintain that little bit of slipstream. It's going to be a great train. What's Polo got up to? He's quite close to the back of LSJ Rundle. He really needs to start making. Who let this man be in tier 1? I swear his ticket was open for 5 minutes, and I'm not being horrible because I'm sure he's a great guy and a great driver. Who let? Whatever. I didn't even see his time trial times. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Do I even need to question who that is? And there's a yellow flag in the middle sector. Actually, it's called Kyogre, who was sadly backwards there as he hunts some more points. But it's not to be so far. Still a long race to go. Jab is almost out of the 1 second range of F1 drivers. DRS is going to be enabled as we cross the line here. F1 driver now 1 second behind. Pluto now 1 second behind as well. So let's keep an eye out here on Black Draw, who is perhaps going to have the best of the overtaking opportunities. I swear I just heard a graze of the wall, but I think it was from the other side of the track. How do you spin so much? There's at least been 30 spins in these opening 2 laps. I'm so sorry if you happen to watch the stream back. But I'm not wrong, am I? Let's go and have a look at Black Draw then. We see his DRS flap open there. Pluto's is as well, so he's just edging a bit closer to F1 driver, and that keeps the Williams ahead of the AlphaTauri. But again, very little moves to be made on this Kemmel straight. How much pressure Black Draw is putting on the back of Pluto now through No Name. A little bit difficult to follow through here. Can easily pick up a warning there on the exit. A lot less lenient than in real life. LSJ Rundle sitting in a solid P5. 7th in the championship for LSJ Rundle at the moment. Again, Black Draw doing so well to follow the Williams. He's right on the back of Pluto here. And now on to turn 14 we go. And Stavolo, famously on the inside of this corner, I believe, there's a little karting venue, and we famously saw a Sebastian Vettel-esque moment while waiting for some green flag running in this year's Belgian Grand Prix. I believe it was qualifying. We saw how wet it was still. Black Draw, again, having a nice look there is still not to be. Pluto now just outside that DRS range. He's got to do everything in his power to try and just get back in it. Down here we go towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Completely pinned through there. But Pluto does well again to close that gap. Oh, and Black Draw almost loses it. And now look at LSJ Rundle right on his tail. He did so well there to just maintain car control. Josh and Blue Goggy going at it through turns 6, 7 here. Now down towards turn 8 they go. No change there, but Black Draw just hanging on, still in 4th place. Through Puon they go now. 170 miles an hour mid-corner there. Hostag with a time penalty. Josh also has one to his name as well. Just seeing how difficult it is to follow yellow flag. Is that for communist? Is it? It's certainly a yellow flag where he was. Maybe just getting a bit out of shape there. F1 driver now moving back in to the DRS range of Jab. So it's a fascinating fight here, which anyone could come out on top with. There's still strategical elements to come into play. We will be seeing a nice soft medium, I believe. Unless, of course, a nice early safety car. Communist MV coming into the pits early. I think it was definitely him that caused the yellow flag. Yellow flag in Sector 2 again. I think we've got an AlphaTauri around, and it's no, actually it's Brute Gorgon again. He went onto the hard tyres not long ago, but still no different for him as he tries to just adapt to the racing circumstance once again. Look at Pluto now right on the back of F1 driver. F1 driver again just dropping out of that DRS. He just needs to find that little bit of extra consistency to try and just stay within range of Jab, because he's just slowly building that gap now. Is our race leader and the 2-time race winner this season. 67 points he's on in the championship. 3 podiums out of 4. France, of course, being that dramatic day in terms of the way this championship battle is going to play out. We go to Singapore next week. A 31-lap race under the lights at Marina Bay. Still relatively limited action in terms of overtaking, but LSJ Rundle here is finding himself really close to the back of the sister team AlphaTauri. Again, just waiting for that deciding moment within this train. Black Draw still holding his nerve. So really trying to clear the Williams. So I'm sure it feels like he has a fair bit of pace that he can still unlock. Up to the top of Radion again. Pluto still in the DRS of F1 driver. Black Draw as well. Nothing really changing here. We've got Brute Gorgon around again at turn 13. Very commonplace to lose it. Very surprised we haven't had a virtual safety car or full safety car in this race. That's because no one's took their wheels off yet. It's been a clean affair so far, which is exactly what we want to see. And you know what would maybe ruin that? A safety car, where sometimes driving standards can just go in the bin. Still keeping an eagle eye on this battle, because this is really headlining our race so far. Just this train. And fair play to them all for sticking it so close for so long. All of these drivers actually under a lot of pressure So for them to keep it out of the wall so far is good going. But that is just how strong Tier 1 is at the top end. The top 3 in this race perfectly represents the top 3 in the championship so far. Jab from F1 driver from Pluto is in fact the top 3 in the championship as well. It's almost like a Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen situation from last season. Into pits comes Polo God and Bennett. Polo God actually hitting the wall there. I wonder if there's any front wing damage on that Alfa Romeo. And someone's gone round at the first corner. Have they? Something's definitely happened. I'm not too sure. Is Polo God getting a wing change? That looked like a quick stop and he's still got out ahead of Bennett. So this could be a very, very crucial undercut for Polo God. He gets out in relatively clean air. He's got Kulkaoga about 2.5 seconds up the road. But other than that, I don't think he'll be massively held in this situation. Blue Goggy running 7th at the moment. Yellow flag again. We know who that's for. You can see it on the mini-map. The other Haas of QBR20, Josh, has ran a decent race so far. Currently up in P8, but I think net P11 at the moment, just on the outskirts of the points. Jab has now built up a 2-second lead. He's managing his tyres quite well. QBR20, Savoy again. He's about to be lapped. There he goes again. You'll see just... I can't tell if he's taking the piss at that. I can't tell if he's taking the mick at this point. I've said it now, sorry. And into the pits comes Jab. Into the pits comes F1 driver Pluto, Black Raw and LSJ Rundle. Oh, almost losing the car there, managing to get it slowed down to 50 miles an hour here. Jab is going to be in and out, but he might get held because look at the cars coming through. He's lost a fair bit of time from that. F1 driver towards the end of the pit lane. Medium tyres going on. Pluto's right at the end of the pit lane as well. Green light for him. He gets held as well. Some pit lane drama, and finally Savoy has retired from the race. I say finally, because how did he not before? I don't think that would cause anything. I believe that's in the pit lane, but look at this! Polo God, he's got out just ahead of his teammate, and right on the back of Jab. DRS open here. Here comes F1 driver as well. Oh, it's all kicking off on lap 8. Will any moves be made? F1 driver actually gets ahead of Polo God. Side by side they go! And into the runoff goes F1 driver, comes out behind his teammate. Drama here. Polo God re-lets him through, or lets him back through, I should say. Drama here. And suddenly, Polo God popping out there from his undercut in a perfect position. Had to yield there to his teammate. But it all went horribly wrong for F1 driver going through there. It did just look like his own error. Brute Gorgon is now out of the race, and that's a virtual safety car. The soft runners will be released. Look at the wheels. Look at the wheels. We've seen some weird things going on today. That's perhaps the highlight of them all. Net positions then, Jab from F1 driver from Polo God. LSJ Rundle has jumped the Williams of Pluto. Bennett in P9 at the moment. Blacked Raw. That must have been him having... Oh no, he's got front wing damage. Something has happened to Black's Raw, and the guy who was running so well in this race is now forced into a pit stop with green again. No changes in strategy due to that virtual safety car. But Black Draw is in, sadly, for a wing change onto another set of mediums he goes. Let's watch QBR20 Josh, who's side by side here with Blue Goggy. The side by side action is finally starting to spring into life. Up the inside goes QBR20 Josh side by side still with Blue Goggy, just leaves him enough space and they bang wheels, and surely one of them's come away with damage there, still wheel to wheel, but no, Blue Goggy maintains that position. Communist has retired at Radion. Just had a virtual safety car. I wonder if that will spring into a full safety car. No, well, we're back to green flag. That'd usually be a red flag in real life, but, you know. Codemasters F1 games. Jab is starting to hit traffic of Josh and Blue Goggy, and this will invite F1 driver back to the battle, because look how slow Josh went through there. Not to be disrespectful, obviously old tyres coming into play as well. Cool guy over a 3-second penalty now as well. Will Jab go through on the inside of Blanchimont? Surely not. Luckily, he's got it done before the corner, but he's going to have a tight run through there. He manages to stay ahead. F1 driver's going to have to go for a big send to try and get this position, and he has done just perfectly. No cars now again in between Jab and F1 driver. Blue Goggy is up next for the leaders to pass. 9 seconds up the road is Kostag, so he won't be any sort of obstacle. Polo God unable to get past QBR20 Josh just yet, but let's go back to watching Jab here. Is down through Eau Rouge and up to the top of Radion they go. You can just see how steep it is there from this camera angle. Here comes Jab. Which way will he go? He's got the move done already on Blue Goggy. Will F1 driver get it done as well? Yes, he does. Blue Goggy there being respectful to the lead fight, which is exactly what we want to see. Josh passed by Polo God there as well, and Blue Goggy, you can just see the difference there in pace. Polo God now being ever so slightly held, but Blue Goggy runs wide, and this is an inviting opportunity for Polo God. And again, Blue Goggy doing the right thing there, doesn't have to, but being nice and respectful to the race leaders, who are going to be fighting really, really hard from now until the end of the race for this race win. Championship on the line as well. We're only on round 5. Rundle with a time penalty. Pluto has just dropped back now from the 2 Alfa Romeos and the McLaren. Rundle just behind as well. He's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Bennett kind of by himself, trying to just claw back into that DRS range. And around goes Josh. That's a big incident on the exit of 15. And he's lost his front wing there and perhaps taken some rear wing damage as well. Absolute disaster for Josh. That may well be race ending. Here comes Axe as well. We haven't spoken about him all race. Jab now fetching a fastest lap as well. Josh going off into the runoff area there. He comes back on. Oh, and he's hit the wall as well. He just could not get that car turned into the pit lane onto the top of Radion then for the 11th time in this race. We're halfway through this Belgian Grand Prix, and F1 driver is hot on the heels of Jab, and here he goes. He's going for it. He's taken the lead as F1 driver, and he has got it slowed down this time without going onto the runoff. F1 driver takes the net lead of this race. And I think LSJ Rundle about to get past Blue Goggy as well. Himself and Pluto have cleared the Ferrari, but Jab has now got an overtake to make to retake this race lead. Penalty for Bennett. No DRS through this flat out section in Sector 3. Just for obvious reasons, you may well end up upside down if you ever use DRS through Blanchimont, but it still offers a brilliant slipstream, and Jab has used that to claw back some time, and DRS open for the start-finish straight, which gives you a helping hand to stick closer. Jab taking a little bit of a wider entry there, but Not too much separates them on exit. Could this be Jab's time to retake this race lead? This is going to be a ding-dong battle right to the very end. Overtake engaged. DRS open. And Jab. Oh, he's just held slightly there by F1 driver who's committing himself to defending to the left-hand side. But Jab has got through anyway. Nothing stopped him there. And Jab back up into the net lead he goes. Bennett on Blue Goggy. Blue Goggy there, overtaken by another one of the front runners. Sam Steed having a lot of trouble in this race, keeping it on the racetrack as well. 3 retirements, just the one virtual safety car in this race. Sam Steed gone round again there in between turn 14 and 15. This race has came into life ever since the pit stops. Oh! And into the wall goes Polo God. That's from wing damage on the Alfa Romeo. And again, Polo God undoes all of his hard work. And that's really not a surprise. Off the track he goes. And here comes Pluto as well. Polo God's going to have to come into the pits. Pluto's got to watch out and does. But Polo God again, no. This is going to lose Alfa Romeo valuable points in this Constructors' Championship as well. They lead currently. But if Jab goes on to win this race, it's now a straight fight between 1 and 2 in the championship. Pluto again back up into a net 3rd place. Axe now up to P8, slowly making progress through the field. Is F1 driver gonna make this move again? No, he's just gonna stick behind the McLaren on this lap, but Jab runs slightly wide, and F1 driver's got a good run out of turn 7. Again, the race has quietened down a bit, and it will suddenly explode if F1 driver is able to try and make a move. This is where Polo God had his off just 1 lap ago. Still in this race just about. He's got Kulkoga to catch. Penalty for Axe there, 3 seconds. He's 10 seconds behind the next car. I think something happened to him in the early stages, or he just went for a really early pit stop. Kostag is now into the pits. He's going to switch off those medium tyres. A good stint there for Kostag, but sadly he has got 6 seconds worth of penalties. The top 3 now takes shape. Rundle just on the back of Pluto as well, so we'll keep a close eye on that. F1 driver 6 tenths back on the run down towards Eau Rouge. That's closing quickly to 5 tenths, now 4 tenths, and that's without the DRS. Now 3 tenths. Is this going to be the moment? DRS open again. Can F1 driver retake the lead of this race? Yes, he does. Far before the corner. And again, the ding-dong battle resumes. F1 driver back up into the lead. Kostag rejoins in P7, 4.2 seconds behind Blue Goggy, who is yet to pit on the same strategy as the Greek driver. Blue Goggy now getting a time penalty as well, and like Expilo is saying in the live chat, Kostag does need a safety car, ideally. If there's anyone that's going to cause that though, most drivers have driven really well. Josh and Sam Steed being victims of some mistakes. I'm still not sure what happened to Black's Raw. Yeah, still disappointing, obviously, because he was fighting for this podium. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that is Sam Steed. He's about to be lapped. We're about to start lap 15 of 22. Look at that in the background as well. Rundle harassing Pluto. He wants to sniff at the podium. LSJ Rundle did get the P3 in France. Should have very easily been P2, but down the hill they go towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And here comes Jab again. He's weaving into the slipstream, just trying to find any advantage he can get. Jab again retaking the lead. It's happening every lap here. And is it really a surprise at this point? It's going to come down to the final lap where it really matters, or just a time penalty for one of the two drivers. Axe into the pits now. He's going to be close to Black's Roar on the exit. Axe still in points-paying position, but does have penalties to his name. Jab really needs to get his foot down now. He's got a lot more battery saved up than F1 driver, but actually, I say that, not by much. Just 25% or so in it. That'll both do the job nicely for both drivers. See how much of the inside curb F1 driver is using there. He's really confident at the minute, and again a lot of that inside curb as well. He's doing everything F1 driver to taste his first race victory of the season. On board with the rear-facing camera of Jab, you can just see how F1 driver gains through there, and just their differing approaches through bus stop chicane onto lap 16. That's 7 to go then. 15 down, 7 to go. And again, Rue, we may be about to witness another change in the lead. Sam Steed now being lapped. Kostag with the fastest lap. He's up now to P6. Trying to chase down Bennett and Rundle. DRS open now for F1 driver. Here comes the Alfa Romeo. He's going to retake the lead once again. But the thing is, they get it done so early on the straight. We don't see the side-by-side battles being resumed into the Les Combes chicane. So it's really a no-drama battle here. And I think Black's Roar into the pits now. Again, something else has happened at the Les Combes chicane. I'm not really too sure what. All seems to be relatively quiet. Rundle still holding on. You know, he doesn't need to take the risk. He's got the 3 seconds of penalties. If Pluto manages to pick up the same, then maybe they'll go for an on-track fight for the podium. It's just hard to take your eye off. Anything could happen here. This is a nice lap, by the way, from F1 driver. He's found 8 tenths, now 9. So Jab has got to use some of his battery here. F1 driver, just see us responding to that. Polo God is out. Polo God is out. Safety car here at Spa. Polo God has binned it at Pouhon, and we're now going to have a magnificent ending. Into the pits comes F1 driver. Into the pits comes Jab and Pluto as well, and Rundle. Bennett's going to stay out. Kostag is going to come in because he's got a free pit stop here over Cool Kyogre. Polar God blows it once again. Any chance of points, mind you. It's going to be a double stack for Red Bull. It should not cost him too much. Kostag? No. Cool Kyogre pitting as well. So yeah, Kostag will lose no positions from this. Jab. But obviously still behind F1 driver. F1 driver's going to be so gutted because he was almost a second in front there. He was pulled out a really solid gap there. So about 9 tenths, nearly a second. He was about to escape the DRS. And now a safety car for his teammate crashing throws another spanner in the works. I think Bennett's just going to be a buffer here. You know, if F1 driver and Jab get stuck behind him and Pluto can slide through, maybe to go on and win this race. You know, This could benefit Pluto quite a lot. He was about 4 seconds behind this existing battle. And now he's going to be amongst it. Black draw, time penalty under the safety car. Sam Steed, who is a lap down, is not going to be able to get that back, but he will move up into P12. Stay tuned, because we're going to have a cracking ending to this race. How about a bit of a football score update? It wouldn't be... Oh, it's 1-1 between the Liverpool and the Manchester City. I'm so cringe. This is what SRS does to a human being. Salah and Jesus. Mohammed and Jesus. FPL points. Hey ho. No square, it's football. I reckon the viewership with this tier would be so much better if it wasn't held at the exact same time as like the marquee Premier League fixture every week. But yeah, the engines just disperse into low hum as just cooling down behind the safety car here. Ready to get racing once again. Sam Steed is into the pit lane. He's a lap down now on the car in front. So an absolute disaster for Sam Steed this race. Maybe he's just gonna have some fun now until the end. This brings the whole pack closer. Let's have a look at penalties. And Bennett's 3-second time penalty. No penalties for the SRS top three, if you like. F1 driver, Jab and Pluto have kept it penalty free. Rundle's got a 3-second penalty to his name. Kostag with 6 seconds. Behind Blue Goggy, Kulkaga with 3 seconds. Axe with 3 seconds. Blackwall with 3... excuse me. Black Straw with 3 seconds. And then Josh with 6 seconds as well. So Josh has got work to do if he wants to get a point at least. Find out very shortly if we're going in this lap. I don't see why we wouldn't be. There's Vern Mylander in the red Mercedes AMG safety car. We'll drive off into the distance. We've hit in sector 2 now, and we are going in on this lap. Let the battle resume then, but this time Bennett is in the way. He's going to have to make that Williams wide if he wants to help out teammate Pluto there. And look at him, net P3 at the moment for the third place man in the championship. He's still very much in this fight. There we go then. It's going to be Bennett that decides when we get underway. And he's driving almost snail's pace at the moment. It's going to be difficult to keep those tyres nice and warm. It's going to go late. The safety car is already into the pits. Obviously nobody can overtake until the green flag, but Bennett has gone now, nice and early in obviously comparison to the track, but we are racing. We are back under green flag conditions, and F1 driver needs to get this move done as soon as possible. It won't be into turn 1. Too big of a risk to take, but he's going to have the slipstream and the grip to get past him on the Kemmel straight. Here we go then. really, really close behind his F1 driver. He's got to watch out because the grip difference could catch him out. Bennett gets actually a nice run through there. Jab right on the back of this as well. Pluto hasn't had the best of safety car restarts. Here comes F1 driver right in the slipstream. Bennett is going to do absolutely everything to defend this. And in fact, they're going to go side by side. And Bennett spins. And Bennett is around. And his duty to perhaps try and make Pluto go through and win this race has suddenly come to an abrupt end as he's now spun all the way down to P11, and Jab versus F1 driver versus Pluto. It's just going to be a straight fight on the racetrack for the remaining 3.5 laps. Sorry if I was so loud there. I think my voice box just decided, yes, let's go shouty mode. No, I don't think it'll hold them up anymore. It might hold them up being a lap down if he just stops, but yeah. QBR20 Josh picks up now 9 seconds total of penalties. And yeah, Square saying that was the first proper wheel-to-wheel racing incident of this race. I wonder if F1 driver may be guilty of a penalty for that. But we'll have to take a closer look. We had a good view there on board with Pluto. Sorry, Jab. Salary single-handedly saving my FPL here. And I've only got like 20 points. Jab makes his way down the hill. No DRS enabled just yet. This will come on the penultimate lap. So it's going to be high tension, high drama, and it could start already. As look at Pluto's slipstream. Pluto is going for P2. Could we see another Williams incident? And Laycon, will he commit down the inside? No, he won't on this occasion, but he's forced Jab just a little bit wide. It's after this P2 now. Is Pluto? Jab just dropping back a little bit of time to F1 driver. Oh, and Rundle gets a bit out of shape. Oh, was that Kostag? One of the Red Bulls there getting a bit out of shape. That's it's Rundle actually quite close to the back of Pluto. It's spreading out a little bit between the top three. Black's Raw and Axe. Axe is around. He's off at Puon. And Axe is slowly diminishing himself from this championship fight. F1 driver, as it stands, will gain 7 points. Who's got the fastest lap? Kostag has the fastest lap, so 7 points. Actually 6 if because of the pole point. Nonetheless, it'll still be a massive confidence booster, and maybe not a reality check, but oh, there you go. There's the fastest lap for Jab, and the DRS now enabled as well. He's brought himself nice and close to the back of F1 driver, and on the penultimate lap here, we're about to see 1-2 in the championship go side by side to determine the 1-2 finish here. Jab up to the top of Radion, then he's only 1.5 tenths behind before the DRS zone. Jab has already got through using a little bit of the grass there. F1 driver tucks in behind just to try and maximise the slipstream. Kostag is ahead of Rundle in a dramatic Red Bull switch there, but Jab gets up to the lead of the race. On the next lap, we could well see the most aggressive defending of the lot, as F1 driver's going to have the DRS to try and overtake for the race lead again. Just 1.5 laps to go here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. A penalty for Bennett. It's all gone horribly wrong for him on the safety car restart. His duty was to perhaps make Pluto win this race. He's still going to take a really good third place finish nonetheless. Look at this, now a 9/10 gap. F1 driver has just lost a touch of momentum here, and he's now just praying that he doesn't get a penalty for that incident. Oh, is it Kostag around? No, it's not. I think it's actually Josh or Bennett back there, but another switch in position for Rundle and Kostag. Rundle getting back ahead of his Greek teammate. And up into P4, that is going to stay that way for LSJ Rundle. So a solid effort from him. He's been in that position all race. 1.1 seconds now is the gap. Another fastest lap for Jab. And this race win is his to lose. Yeah, I wonder if F1 driver did get floor or side pod damage from Bennett, because he just seems to have suddenly lost pace. But you'd think as well he'd lose more time from Pluto. So indeed, it's not going to be the last lap drama that we all hoped for. Yellow flag, and I think that's for Bennett again. It's all come crashing down in the late stages here. There's definitely going to be an investigation for that. Pluto will certainly be piloting it because it will gain him a position. But for Jab, who had never won a Tier 1 race going into this season, he won the season opener in Austria from pole, showing great resilience there to overcome Pluto. At Hungary, finished 3rd place. France, it was a step back for him before quickly recovering in China to take a race win. But for Jab, it's his 3rd race win of the season. Jab takes the checkered flag and wins here in Belgium. F1 driver for now takes P2 with Pluto in 3rd, LSJ Rundle in 4th, Cool Kyogre a really good 5th place, Black Draw recovering to 6th, Kostag in 7th, Blue Goggy in 8th, Axe takes 2 points, Bennett with no front wing is going to limp home actually and take P10. As QBR20 Josh retires on the final lap. 3 wins in 5. From McLaren Maestro, Jab. An absolutely astonishing performance from him once again. There's certainly going to be some hot topic in terms of that Bennett incident. A full order for you, and the gap to the leader was just there on the left hand side, but that is that. Hey.
You've been on
Yeah.
driving this whole race.
Yeah. It weren't too bad though. But yeah, podium ceremony then, and it's an exact copy of what's 1, 2, 3 in the championship at the moment. People like to predict outside the box, but it was actually a simple prediction there that would have won you the jackpot. 18 plus, gamble aware responsibly, whatever it is, but champagne celebrations there as the full results then. Several DNFs, but we saw what horrendous driving Savoia had to show to us today. I'm so sorry, I feel so harsh, I've been so nasty, but Brute Gorgon unable to find his feet as well. Communist MV putting in the wall. Polo God causing that safety car, another dent in his championship hopes, and of course the Constructors' Championship as well, because we knew how close that was going into this. I think it may well be a McLaren lead. I'm not sure. It's certainly going to be really, really close. But yeah, I think we should get into some interviews then. Let's start with Pluto in 3rd place. Obviously, you were brought a lot closer to the pack as a result of that safety car. I'm sure the plan was definitely for Bennett to maybe try and aid you through and fight for this race win. However, it wasn't... He's not even... Oh, he is here. Sorry, I just thought there's 4 people in the party. That means someone's missing, because usually there's a co-commentator. But yeah, back to my question. Was the plan definitely there for Bennett to try and hold up Jab and F1 driver and you maybe sneak through?
No,
No.
no. I just wanted to box for softs. Jack didn't want to box for softs. And that's as
Fair
simple
enough then.
as, yeah.
In terms of your result, I mean, you held that position for the whole race. You had pressure behind from Rundle. You just didn't quite have the pace throughout the medium stint to keep up with the battening Jab and F1 driver. Are you still, satisfied with your P3? I mean, it's hard not to be.
Not really, because it was because of the pit stop that I wasn't there. I was happily on the back of F1 driver until the pit stops. Then I got then I got held up and put to the back of the train. Well, I would have been
Oh
the back of the
dear.
train if Bennett didn't let me through. And then I was catching, and then Polo spat in front of me, slowing me down into the pit lane. And I saw he was pitting and lifted off, which is the appropriate thing to do in that situation. And I lost time to them again. And then I was catching
Yep.
back very slightly. But yeah, then the safety car came out, and I just had to hold my position.
No change then in the championship, of course, because Polo God and Axe having a rough day, but you don't obviously gain points on F1 driver or Jab for the time being. Third place after 5 races. We're about a third of the way through the season. 3 podiums to your name. Um, could it have gone much better for you? You exceeding your own expectations?
Um, Not really. Uh, France was a shame. I popped on the last lap.
Mm.
I could be higher up, I think. It's just better than last season, so I'm just happy I'm not having a nightmare again.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.
No worries.
And congratulations on your P3. Let's talk then to F1 driver, who was so close to taking his first race win of the season. But again, it's not to be. Um, F1 driver, what happened there at the end? Was there any side pod damage or anything from that
No, I
tangle
think
with Bennett? Because,
the pace was just, from me personally, just wasn't great enough, to be honest. All race I was struggling to keep up, and I understand Belgium isn't one of my strongest tracks, but it was still quite. It was surprising how it went from qualifying to being on the front row to almost being completely gobbled up by the whole pack behind. But yeah, still second is still decent, but apart from that, it's not brilliant.
yeah, obviously from the championship point of view as well, it's not perfect losing out to Jab here, but I mean, going into Singapore, it's going to be a long, difficult race next week. Are you still hopeful that you can just claw that back if a bit of luck goes your way?
Um, I think P2 is definitely on the cards. P1's a bit difficult in the championship, to be honest, because Jab's already got quite the lead. So unless something happens like what happened at France, then it's not really going to change all that much, in my opinion. There'll be a few strong tracks that coming up soon, like uh, got Italy coming up after Singapore, I think. Yes. Um, but yeah, it just the pace I think I need to improve on for the race, which is a bit shocking for me to say who's been in the race than qualifying usually, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any more questions. Usually I pass it over to a co-commentator, but that's not something I can do, unfortunately. But thanks very much and congratulations on your P2. Let's
Thank you.
now talk to our race winner, Jab. 3 times a race winner this season after going so long without any. And I know I say this every week, but you're really showing us what a driver you are, to be honest. You drove ever so consistently. You held your nerve so well. You could have easily just got it wrong there in the ongoing battle with F1 driver. Any words on the battle, and how do you reflect on the entire race?
Honestly, it was a great battle. We were just DRSing off of each other. A lot of respect. Great driver to race with. But other than that, it was really a great race. Pretty simple race. I don't know what happened with Bennett, F1 driver. Had to take the escape road, but we ended up winning the race.
Absolutely, and you now have, I believe, I really can't do maths, but you're well over 25, 30 points clear almost in the championship now. That's a race win buffer. You know, you can now flex almost that you can DNF and it won't matter, but I'm sure that's against your desires.
Yeah.
Going into Singapore then, what are your hopes for that? Good track for you? Bad track?
It's an okay track. Honestly, I'm just looking for a podium at that track, and then Italy, just trying to survive, really. Try to damage limitation. Not really good at those tracks, but if I can get through them, then I'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your third race win of the season. And I believe that's the full 27 points as well, because pole position and fastest lap. So that is mega. Congratulations, and that is where we will wrap up this stream. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It was good fun. We had our laughs as well, and that's just all part of the fun. So yeah, join us next week for the Singapore Grand Prix in both tiers. That should be one you don't want to miss. That will be absolutely chaos. So yeah, do join us for that. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.